able to have access to it in the future. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. And we are gonna have some fun. Okay, and also welcome the breathwork practitioner and drum circle leader. So excited to integrate this into practice. This is so amazing, right? Like somatic work is so powerful because it allows us to move all the emotions and things through our body. So dance is one of the best ways, or at least my favorite way to do these things. So thank you so much for all of you who are telling us in the chat what you want to learn out of this, right? And today we are gonna be taking you through the transformation accelerator method, where you are gonna be learning how you can integrate dance into your daily life, into your business, with your clients. So absolutely amazing. So, and I want to introduce you to my co-host for the day, Mike, who is gonna be sharing also some amazing knowledge with all of us today. So Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Lenny. Okay, hi everybody, how are you doing? I'm really happy and excited to be here with you. Do you hear me well? Yep, I see people nodding. Okay, great. So just let me introduce me just a little bit, not too much. I prefer to give more attention to the contents tonight. So I am the founder of Moving Hearts Therapy. So I offer transformational healing retreats, psychotherapy, coaching and training. And I integrate lots of creative therapies such as dance and movement therapy, also laughter yoga, psychodrama and art therapy. I'm really convinced of the healing power of creativity, and that is also my drive. I really want to transmit that to other healers and coaches, trainers, and so on. All right, so I also actually want to say something about Lenny, so you also know who she is here. So she is actually the founder of the Retreat Planner, which is a global agency that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create profitable and unforgettable retreats. So she has over more than 19 years of experience in marketing, in strategy, brand development, and business elevation. So it really is her passion to especially work with coaches, shamans, teachers, such as yoga teachers, meditation teachers, and so on, who really can bring transformation, and she wants to support them to leverage their businesses. So voila, that's short about us. So me and Lenny, we actually met during a podcast. She was organizing a podcast for her retreat business. And as I organize retreats, I was like, oh, I want to meet this person. Yes, let's do this interview. And I really liked how she was asking her questions, like really to the point. And she made me think things through. And I like that skill. So, and then a few weeks afterwards, we, by coincidence, met in a really small town in Mexico called Tepoztlan, where I was living at that moment. And I couldn't believe that I saw her. It was during a kirtan night, a singing circle night. And I just ran over to her, and then we met in person. And a beautiful friendship got born there. And then also now a beautiful collaboration. So I'm really excited. It's quite special for me to host an event like this. I also am thrilled hosting that with another female leader as well. So that is a little bit the background of us. And then next to that, I organize trainings, creative facilitation trainings, I called them before. And I was actually realizing, talking to the people, to the other coaches, that they don't only want facilitation skills and tools, but they actually want knowledge about how they can market their services, because being a good facilitator doesn't always mean being a great entrepreneur or businesswoman. And I recognize myself into that. For me, that usually is the biggest challenge in my business, the business part. So I thought, what about I just ask Lenny to collaborate so we can actually give a better service to our clients. So that is what we will be doing here. So this is the first webinar that we're organizing tonight. And that is also really the objective, like to talk a little bit about the facilitation, but also the business piece, because I can imagine that also here, quite some people are having questions about that. Voila. So enough talking. I also know some people just want to go into action. So I want to invite you all to stand up. Okay. Make yourself comfortable. If you need to take off your shoes, please do so. Make sure you have some space around you. Exactly. And we're just going to start with a little transitioning into the body. So you can close your eyes and connect to your feet. And start dropping into your body. Exactly. If you have to yawn or whatever, just do so. If you feel that you need a stretch, please, this is all about sensing the body and following our impulses, right? Okay. So I want you to just scan your body, connect with the different parts of your body, and also connect with your breath. And you can put your hands, place your hands where you feel your breath in your body. If it's like lower in the belly or higher in the chest, doesn't matter. Just bring your hands there without changing anything. Just naturally breathing. We always do that. And if after a while you sense that your breath is lowering or highering, then you can also relocalize your hands. Just follow with your hands the natural flow of your breath. And let this connection with your breath and your hands really help you to arrive in your body, to arrive in the present moment. And while you keep your eyes closed and you stay connected through this exercise with your breath, you can just let go of your hands now. And I want you to just feel and sense your body until there is a certain body part that actually calls your attention. And it might be calling your attention through a kind of a tension, a tickling sensation, change over temperature, itching, whatever it is. When there is a body part that is calling you, I want you to connect with it and go with your focus and attention totally towards it. And what helps me is also that I start to breathe towards that body part. So I can really give it some space. So it's about connecting from the inside. And when you feel that you really have arrived there with your full attention, when you have connected with that body part, you can slowly start to move that body part. And it doesn't matter how it looks like. And just start exploring in different directions with that body part. So we're really giving it all the space and movement that it just wants in this moment. And see if you can follow the natural impulses, not through the mind, but really go sensing there. With curiosity and kindness. Until you feel that maybe the impulses of moving are getting less and less. And then you can make the movement smaller and you connect with your entire body until another body part is actually calling out your attention. And then you connect with that other body part and you just do the same. You breathe towards it. You make yourself present with that body part. You start moving until the impulse is stopping to move. And I'm going to give you some moments to just explore for yourself, just a simple exercise. And while you continue this exercise, see if you can also open your mouth a little bit, like really relax the jaw. So it's going to help you to drop even more into your body. All right, and you can slowly make your movements smaller and smaller until you come to a stillness point and take some moments to just sense your body. You can scan it from toe to top of your head and also notice the difference, how it has changed. And I want you to invite to keep that same self-connection throughout the entire session. So see if you can stay close to yourself, even when we go a bit more to our minds during some parts of the sessions as well. And if you want, you can slowly get back to your seat or wherever you were sitting. Make yourself comfortable. If you want, you can write in the chat how you're feeling in this moment. I hope it has helped you a little bit to arrive in your body. I know we all have busy lives, so it's important to take those kinds of moments. Grounded, beautiful. I feel more centered.
Grounded, yeah. Isn't just dropping into the body amazing? Like, doesn't it feel like so great? It's like you know, for me, it's just so powerful and connected with the breath. It's even like so much more stronger, right? Like every time I do a session, like, and I love the way we started this session, right? With this like really dropping into the body and like listening to our body, right? To each piece that is asking something from ourselves. But we also connected it to the breath. And I usually start my sessions asking people just like, let's take 3 deep breaths, because that equals like now there's like all the science behind that, it equals 5 minutes of meditation. So I'm like, just like, you know, let's just skip the 5 minutes of meditation, take some breaths, and then like drop into the body. Yes. And this is like, wow, I feel great. You know, I'm always like super excited, and you're gonna listen to me now speak and present a couple of things because we have some amazing information. And like you're gonna think, oh my gosh, it's so high energy, but we're feeling so relaxed after this like exercise and everything. But for me, this is just like somatic work, and this body work, like movement, just like helps me like really center myself, right? So I can show up from a better place. It's so powerful. And you know, Mika told you a little bit about myself. So I'm super excited to be teaching the business part of this section today. And before we go there, I'm going to teach you, like show you the transformation accelerator formula. So you have an idea of like where we're going to go throughout this call, right? And if you have any questions throughout the process, feel free to write them in the chat. We will get to them at the end. So no worries. All the questions will be answered. It's going to be so much fun. And we're going to have some exercises. It's going to be very interesting for us to go through this. And I don't believe in coincidences. So like, you know, when Mika came to me, she's like, I know you. And I'm like, what are you doing here? You know, I was like so shocked, but I was like, there is a reason for this, right? And now we're here, and all of you are here for a reason. There's a reason why the Facebook algorithm or email or, you know, whatever way we found each other, right? Worked. It's because you were meant to be here. So thank you for your presence. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your time. We know time is super valuable. So we're going to make sure that you get a lot of useful stuff for the future. And then if you really like this, then you can keep working with us, right? No pressures. Anyway, let me share with you this slide about the transformation process, because, you know, sometimes visually things just make a little bit more sense. This, I'm sharing my screen, but I cannot find the presentation itself. 1 second, you know, technical stuff, sometimes a little bit of like a fun thing. Okay, there we go. Can you see my screen? Yes, awesome. Okay, perfect. So this is the transformation accelerator formula, right? So this is the thing that for us, for this style of work, we really like, and I feel it's one of the most important pieces that you need, right? So I don't know if you've seen in the past these Venn diagrams, but it's beautiful because it has, each circle has main thing, and when they interconnect, they create something new. And when the 3 of them, they connect, they create one thing between the 3 of them. So the thing that they have in common, the goal, right? So I'm going to start backwards, and I'm going to tell you that the main goal of this accelerator formula is transformation, right? Why do we want to do like dance therapy, movement, breath work, any kind of therapy or coaching that you are doing? Is because we want to create transformation, right? We want to change something. If we didn't want to change something and we wanted it to stay the same way, then what would be the point, right? You go somewhere, you enter a room, you get out of the room the same way. And that is not really real, because after this call, we are not going to be the same people, because we are going to have additional knowledge, right? So every single experience that we have in our life is shaping us into a different way, right? So it's taking us to a different direction. But today we're going to be focusing on the 3 main aspects that this transformation accelerator formula has. So we're going to be talking about the clients, right? So what happens with the clients? What do they need? Why do they want to become our clients? What do they have that it's important for them to become a client? it all comes a little bit into the space that they want to change something, right? They want to transform something in their life, right? And then from there, we're going to be talking about the client, and then we're going to talk about the facilitator. So you as a facilitator, what tools do you need in order to help this client solve or transform this in their lives? And between the two, the client and the facilitator, there's going to be a relationship that is going to happen, right? So this relationship is going to become something where there is trust, there is growth, there is so many different things that can happen out of this relationship. And then we are going to be talking about the business as well, right? So we're going to be talking about the two pieces, what happens when you have a business and you have a facilitator. Well, you need to create a business strategy, right? You need to have a strategy for people to see you, for people to experience what you're doing, because you can be the most amazing coach, transformational person, mindset coach, trainer, yoga teacher, it doesn't really matter. But if no one sees you, no one knows that you're there, they're not going to come knocking on your door, right? You need to actually tell someone or many people, what do you do? So when the right people is out there, they're going to find you, right? And we're going to also talk about the relationship between the business and the client. And this relationship is called a transaction, right? For a client to become a client in a business, right? There needs to be a transaction. There needs to be a financial transaction that happens between the two of them. And with all these pieces together, what happens is we get transformation. We can help our client actually transform their lives into a completely different way. So I have someone walking behind me, but my Wi-Fi in my house was a little bit spotty, and I wanted to make sure that I had good Wi-Fi to speak with you. So we have someone also having a nice conversation behind me. So let's just, have a little bit of fun with this man that I have no idea what he's talking about. So thank you for, if you get distracted, I also get a little distracted. So thank you so much for your patience with that. So this is a transformation accelerator formula, right? And this is what we're going to be covering throughout the call, and we're going to have some fun exercises. So, grab your seats. If you have a piece of paper and a pen, have it in hand. And I'm going to let Mike take us through the next part.
Hope the diagram made sense. I think it's quite obvious, and we will clarify it more the way that we actually continue within this webinar. So I want to start with the parts of the client, right? Because that is usually how it starts. Someone, I call it a client, can also be participant or coachee. I am just used to naming a client because I'm a psychotherapist, but however that is for you, right? So there is always someone that wants change. Yeah, someone who is actually not really satisfied with this current situation they're in. And that is actually why they are searching and they're reaching out to a facilitator. So there is something that a client is considering or experiencing as an issue or a problem. Yeah, and I'm actually curious, who of you already is a facilitator or a healer? What do you work with? Like, what is the reason that your clients or participants actually are looking for you? What is their problem? What are they experiencing that they are not satisfied with? And if you can add it into the chat.
I think I can also give an example for me. So when people come and they find me, it's because they want to create retreats, right? They want to go into this space and they don't know exactly how to do the whole thing without that taking them hundreds of hours of planning. And they want to be able to make sure that they sell out the retreats, right? That they are not wasting their time and all these kind of things. So for me, this is the kind of people that actually work with me, right? The people who are ready to take their business into their next level and they don't know exactly how to do that. And it's not something that they can find on Google.
Okay, thanks, Lenny, for clarifying. Okay, I am also reading here. I work mostly with people who are feeling stuck, but moving into the world of health. So you're working, Anna Jones is working with cancer patients. I also have worked with cancer patients. I really love that. Then Gina, mental health challenges. Yeah, mental health is wide. So I imagine you're also like having a wide spectrum of problems that people are experiencing, Gina. And then Christina, yeah, Christina analyzes paralysis while they launch their next program or course or membership. Okay, cool, interesting. Yes, okay. So thanks for sharing that. Just gives me a little bit an idea like of who you are. I'm not just talking to a screen, I'm talking to colleagues now. Okay, so when people are actually coming to me, they have all kinds of things going on. So for example, it can be psychosomatic complaints, can be anxiety, a lot of people with anxiety, also burnout, stress, sleeping disorders, relationship problems, not being able to make a decision. Do I stay or leave in my relationship, for example? Do I leave my job? Do I stay? That kind of things. Do I want children or not? Also perfectionism, a low self-esteem, and so on. It's like a huge list. So it can seem that they are really, really different, but what they all have in common is actually that they have a difficulty to connect with themselves. Yeah, so difficulty to connect with their emotions and a difficulty to connect with their body. All of those people, I would say more than 90%, they are stuck in their minds. They're very, very mental. And I think that's also quite, well, I imagine that we're all living in these Western societies. So that is a very common thing, yeah? So I'm also wondering, like, who is already integrating dance and movement or embodiment? If you just can raise your hands. Already, yeah, one person there. Gina, a little bit. Okay, some people yes, some people no. Okay, good. So I would like to hear from you. Why do you think that somatic work, body-oriented work, is actually helpful? And some of you already are doing this with your clients, and some of them are really curious because you're here. So you want to find out more about it. But what is actually happening? Why is that important? Just say whatever comes up for you. It's no exam.
Can we
Mhm.
talk, Miyaki? Yeah.
Yes.
For me, I work a lot in nature connection. So the somatic work is really related to being outdoors and in nature. And I think why it's important there is that it's connecting people to something bigger than themselves and bigger than what's in their mind, really.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful also that you already like bring in another element, which is in nature. It's much easier for people to connect with themselves through nature. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Okay. Yes, the question, Anna Jones, was like, why do you think that somatic work is important? Why is that actually working? Why is that helping clients? Yes, Mara.
So it helps reset the autonomic nervous system and the nervous systems, as well as reset the brain. So it kind of connects all the things together. I think so. If the individual is in a cycle of appreciation and negative thoughts and stuff like that, it resets everything. So you have a set of where you're neutral, where you can start setting the person back into a normal or into a healthier cycle.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you. I couldn't explain it any better, Mara. I love it. Yes, exactly. And I also read body movement helps releasing stuck emotions. Yeah. And also tensions, they are all stored in the body, right? Our body stores so much information and also like past experiences and so on. So if we don't move our bodies, we just hold on to it. And that's also like tension release or trauma release exercises are really aiming to that, right? Also, somatic work brings you back to the body. And when we are brought back to the body, it helps us be in the present moment. And when we are in the present moment, we are out of our minds. Yeah. So that is really connected. That is also what meditation is aiming to do, like just be in the present moment. Yeah. And sometimes it's difficult for people to do through meditation. So, and it's much easier, especially in the Western world, to use movements to get to the same. Okay. Then also the body can't lie. I don't know if you heard that. And most of the times, like the body is speaking to us all the time. We can't always make sense of it, but it is speaking to us. And what we do in this kind of containers of healing is that we start connecting with your bodies, and we want to start listen to actually what message is my body giving to me. And then for me, like we already talked about transformation, that is what we actually aim for. To me, it doesn't make sense to only start to stay at the mental level. Like a real transformation includes the body, the mind, the soul. A real transformation without a bodily experience, it's not 100% transformation. Like something needs to shift and click in the body as well. Yeah. And then also, like somatic work can be more accessible for certain people. Sometimes people are not ready yet to talk about a certain experience in their lives, or they are not able to pinpoint emotions yet, but we can start working through the body. So often it's actually a shortcut. Yeah. All right. And then I also want to share something about myself, so you can hear me as a case study itself. So I used to be shy and fearful, and especially fearful concerning my body. Like in the sport classes, I hated it when I was a child. Climbing over these ladders and jumping, I would just pee my pants. I hated it. And I was always the one chosen as the last person in their team, because they knew I was not really good in that kind of things. Also, starting to ride a bike, swimming, it was really tough for me. Like the coordination things, it was with so much fears and drama for me, and tears as well. And also at I had a few years in my life where I also was overweighted, so that didn't help either. And I started to become very overconscious because I was comparing myself to other students. I saw that they were skinnier, they were like more flexible, they were more powerful, and so on. They were faster. So I started to have a very negative body image. So then during my teenagers and even later on as a young adult, I got introduced to somatic works in different kind of modalities. For example, like intuitive dancing. Then I started postural integration, which is an individual therapy, which involves also working with the body, working with the fascia. And I also did some rebirthing and so on. And slowly, I noticed that something was shifting. Yeah, I started sometimes to enjoy it. Sometimes the worry was gone. That, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I feel not comfortable. Everybody is staring at me. So that's a little bit my personal context. And then professionally, at the same time, I was starting to study for a psychotherapist, and I wanted to specialize in drama therapy. But that year, the drama therapy got cancelled because not enough inscriptions. And I was really upset. And a friend invited me to studying dance therapy instead. And I was like, dance therapy? Are you crazy? I'm not sure. That's nothing for me. But then I thought, you know what? Otherwise, this is a lost year. I just let me do something. Why not? Why not? So I started to study, and it was just amazing because I started to feel what it was doing with me. And when I was working with my clients and I would practice on them, I also started to notice shifts with them. So for me, suddenly a new world started to open up, actually. And what it did to me is that it started to soften me and open up my heart. I created new stories with movement and my body that were more positive than in my past. And I started to be happier, and this allowed me to connect with other people in a different way, because there was always first a safe container. Yeah. So I got more access to people, I got access to my emotions, which felt very vulnerable at start. And after a while, after connecting with the difficult emotions like pain and sadness and anger, also I could start to connect with joy and spontaneity. And first I felt that inside, and now I feel much, much more alive. And that is thanks to the body work and the dance and the movement. So just to see how this can actually transform someone. Yeah. So everybody has a story with their body and with somatic work, self-image, and so on. So I want to give you an exercise, not for now, but just to do maybe after this webinar, like maybe write down what is your story with your body, what is your story with somatics, because your clients will ask for it. They are curious. And it's good to find out for yourself and to start pinpointing what actually helped me, what kind of exercises, what kind of somatic work, what was actually happening, what was the change. And also, every client has a story. Every client has a story connected to the body and their emotions. Every client will have an issue, otherwise they wouldn't come to us, right? And they also have a motivation, they have a desire, they want to overcome something, yeah? And all of these pieces, I think that is really important to know before we start working with someone. Obviously, when I'm working individually with someone, I will have an intake session. I will have much more information than when I'm doing a group session, yeah? But even if I do a group session, I send out a form and I ask certain things because I want to know, who am I actually organizing something for? I want to know. If it's 100 people attending, that's going to be more tricky. But usually I organize more small scale because I like this personal relationship. Yeah. So that is something that I would recommend you to do as well. Like get an image of what is actually happening, because it will help you to choose as a facilitator, like what kind of exercises, what kind of elements do you want to bring in? Yeah. So
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
then we all, tell me, Lenny.
I was just saying it's so good because it's so important to know who we're serving and what they're looking for. And usually we are serving someone that's 5 steps before where we are, right? So a lot of people who are going to come to us are people who are experiencing something that we already experienced in the past, and we learn how to deal with and how to manage and how to shift. Because the reality is that you are an expert in something, right? You're an expert in your life because you have transformed things in your life to become a better person, because we're in this process of evolution as humans, right? So because you have done that, you are an expert already in at least one field, probably in many, many more. But sometimes we are thinking like, oh, I also need to do this. I also need this. I also need that before I can actually talk to a client. And the reality is that so many of them, they're very, very similar to who you are. Like a lot of the people that I talk to, they might have other tools and skills, but they're missing one that I have, but there are like just a couple of steps ready to get there, right? They're not like miles away, because it would be so hard for me to take them all the way through, right? But they're ready, and they're in this point in their life where they want to change something, and you want to know that you're the right person to do this, right? Anyway, that's it.
Thanks. Exactly. So I'm actually curious, and that is a question for all of you, like, why are you into somatic work? Why are you a facilitator? Or if you are not already, what is calling you? Like, where is your interest coming from? What is your trigger? What was your trigger for actually making that decision? So I think that's a good question to write down for yourself and see what actually comes up right now. And if someone wants to share in the chat, please, I'm always curious, and we can always relate to what other people experiences are. So why do you do this work? What was your trigger? What made you start? Okay, yeah, Gina, she got ill chronic pain. So you have, that is quite a process, no? And even like a bodily process that also involves lots of emotions and also keeping the mind strong and so on. Yeah. Then Anna Jones, always have loved helping others, but the pandemic really made me realize that I needed to step out and help out. Yes. Yeah, beautiful. And sometimes something outside of us will happen, which